Low back pain is very common and most recover quickly from an episode of pain. But about 25% of people develop chronic pain, and chronic pain is pain that lasts more than 3 months. And because of that, low back pain is the leading cause of disability in the world. And in terms of its economic impact at a societal level, chronic pain is more expensive than diabetes and cancer combined, mostly due to a loss of participation in work and to ongoing care seeking.
For many people, low back pain profoundly disrupts their lives. It interferes with everyday activities like going to work, exercising, caring for loved ones, doing housework, even socialising. The list goes on. And so this reduced activity means often a decline in fitness, strength, in general health, and that can exacerbate back pain or at least maintain it. And unfortunately, we know that mental health frequently worsens as well. A lot of people with chronic low back pain experience depression, anxiety and other psychological problems, which makes sense if you think they're participating less in their daily activities and the things that usually give their lives meaning and purpose. Then often relationships suffer, there's increased financial stress when people are working less and paying for increased health care. And so this lived experience of chronic low back pain is often described as like living a life on hold, a life that feels disconnected from one's self, world and future.
I was locked in. I avoided multiple activities that would have any chance of, any risk of my body being in an unstable state, I would avoid. That would even involve pushing a shopping trolley around Coles. I wouldn't push a shopping trolley. I avoided activities with my kids. I didn't play soccer with them or play tennis, anything, because I lived in a state of fear that one foul move would just have this disastrous effects. And I'd been through so much, I didn't want to risk being through anything else. So I lived in a state of fear that things would get even worse. And I lived in a state of restriction, personally and with my family as well.
The care received by people with low back pain is highly variable, and many people receive interventions that are not recommended in international guidelines. Unfortunately, even those interventions that are widely recommended, such as exercise and psychological therapies, produce relatively small and short-lasting effects. This is not, however, entirely surprising, given that most current interventions fail to address the wide range of factors that we now know contribute to chronic low back pain. Things such as unhelpful beliefs about pain, physical, social and lifestyle factors.
So the doctors and specialists that my parents recommended for me, a lot of it just included pain relief, so a lot of pain relieving medications and physios. At the time, the most common physio procedure was just that little site adjustment and a hot pack. And I would go in, I'd have that adjustment, and by the time I'd driven home in the car, I was back in pain. It was just a circle. I saw chiropractors, and again the same thing. I would get an adjustment and then just go back to normal. I just got used to living with pain. It really just became part of my identity. Being told something like you'll be in a wheelchair when you're 40, when at the time I was in my 20s, was terrifying. It was take this really awful medication which has loads of side effects, or you'll be in a wheelchair. They are your two options in life. I well up just thinking about it. I felt very disempowered, very confused and very scared. And when you're already in chronic pain, it just starts becoming a bit of a downward spiral. And I would dare to say that I was probably depressed for a larger proportion of the time because of just being in pain and the worry and it seeming like there was no end in sight.
So cognitive functional therapy is a person-centred approach that is aligned to best care principles. It explores the patient's beliefs, emotions and behavioural responses to pain and then takes the person on a journey. This journey first explores the person's understanding of their pain. It helps them reconceptualize their pain as not so much about damage, but as the body's responses to overprotect themselves. It helps them to find new ways of responding to their pain in terms of moving and relaxing and having new control over their body, to build confidence in their body, to go back to the things in life that they value. It also helps to address other things, such as lifestyle factors, to re-engage in physical activity, to manage their sleep, and to get back into social activities and things that they love to do. It gives them a sense of autonomy, to have control over their body and their health, so that they can independently manage their own health concerns.